13th, and this is our second meeting. I'm sorry, Karen, I should have given you the heads up that we were starting.
I'm right with you. I'm right with you. The recording has started.
Excellent. So I'll go ahead and do introductions, starting with DFR staff.
Karen Winkle, and I'm the rules coordinator for the division.
Hi, Jesse O'Brien, policy manager with the division.
All right, next we'll jump to RAC members. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hi, this is Antoinette Iwachi. I'm the Senior Public and Regulatory Affairs Specialist for Cambria Health, and our health plans are Regents Blue Cross Blue Shield of Oregon and Bridgespan Health Plan. Nice to be here again. Thank you.
Hi, Terry Cuffle with the American Orthotic and Prosthetic Association. Thank you for having me.
Good morning, Scott White, Director of Regulatory Affairs for Moda Health. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Good morning, this is Merlene Converse from Kaiser Permanente.
Good morning, this is Melanie Anderson from United Healthcare.
Hi everyone, this is Nicole Verkeilen with the Amputee Coalition, and So Everybody Can Move. Thanks for having me.
Hi, I am Bo Wrights, a government affairs policy analyst with Providence Health Plan.
All right, now we'll go with anyone else that we may have missed.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Joe McTurnan. I am not an official committee member, but I am here representing and supporting the American Orthotic and Prosthetic Association, Director of Health Policy and Advocacy.
Good morning, everyone.
Go for it.
Pramila Reddy with Oregon Department of Justice, here for legal counsel for Division of Financial Regulation.
Hi everyone, Anna Sovereign, representing the Northwest chapter of the American Academy of Orthotists and Prosthetists.
Hi, Cheryl Sachs with National So Everybody Can Move.
All right, great. So thank you everyone for taking time to be here again today. This is really just kind of an administrative wrap up. Karen, can we pull up the final rule text? So this is the same text that we discussed at the last meeting. Oh,
I lost it. Hang on.
Okay. Anyway, so I'll keep talking while she's finding it. So it's the same rule text that we had discussed at the last meeting, no changes. We only received one comment since the last meeting, and that was just in support of the text as it was written. So we're going to go ahead and go forward with that rule text. The main reason for today's meeting is just that we needed to wrap up the statement of need and fiscal impact. That's kind of our document, making sure that we know what the impact of this rule will be and that there won't be any unintended consequences. So again, here's the rule text. Nothing changed, so it should still be good to go. And can we go to the statement now, please? All right, so we have this statement. What I'd like to do with the group is just go over these questions to make sure we're not missing anything. And then we can wrap up and save some time today. So I hope that works for everyone. We'll go ahead and start with the first item on the list. This is how we think the adoption of the rule will affect equity in the state, as in who's it going to impact and how might it impact one group of people differently than others. So what are thoughts on this one? Does anyone have any feelings, thoughts that they'd like to discuss?
Oh, Ethan.
Yeah.
I have a blank Snippy up. So you want the snippy that you completed?
No, let's just do the blank one. I thought that was the one we were sending, or
It's we sent this one out to the RAC, and we've got the other one going to internal routing. So I can very quickly bring up
okay,
the
go
one
ahead.
that's all right.
Sure.
Hang on.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you for your patience, everyone. All right, so let me pull up mine as well. So we just want to make sure that we didn't miss anything on this document, that there's not anything that we should have had that we didn't. All right, so sorry, computer's taking just a moment. All right, so as far as equity, while we identified that the proposed rules did result in new coverage requirements, the key groups would be Oregon health insurers, consumers that purchase health insurance policies, and individuals enrolled in those policies. It would most directly impact health insurers needing to ensure that the policy provides the coverage for the devices and complies with other provisions of the rule. And we are also, we weren't aware of any data suggesting a disproportionate impact on any specific groups of enrollees or policyholders, and that the rules and the statutes may contribute to advancing health equity by ensuring equitable access for individuals with limb loss and limb difference who are enrolled in individual or group health policies. So what are, and then we also identified that the benefits will likely be disproportionately experienced by Oregonians most at risk for these injuries or other health conditions resulting in amputation, including, but not limited to veterans or peoples with diabetes, etc. So what are thoughts? Anyone have any concerns with that statement?
This is Jesse with DFR, and this is not a concern, of course, but just a piece of context is that we are required to do this to estimate the impact of the rulemaking as distinct from the impact of the underlying statute. So we will note in this document briefly the impact of the underlying statute, but I think in general, the rule here is not adding much to the underlying statute. So the impact of the rule over and above that is relatively minimal, I would think. But if there is any significant impact, then we definitely want to note it here.
Yes, thank you. Right, I don't see any hands, so we can move to the next item, which is the fiscal and economic impact. So the cost of compliance for businesses. And we noted that the primary cost of complying with these rules will fall on licensed health insurers. And then based on our information that no health insurer meets the definition of a small business under Oregon statute. The rules may have indirect impacts upon businesses, including small businesses that purchase fully insured group health insurance policies, but would not have any additional fiscal or economic impact on state agencies, local governments, or the public beyond the underlying statutory requirements. So any thoughts on that section? And We'll leave this open for a week so that people can review it. We'll send it around and they can review it and submit comment in writing as well. But anything here? All right, we can move to the next item. Cost of compliance for small businesses. Identify any state agencies, units of local government, or members of the public likely to be economically affected by the rulemaking. So based on our information, the proposed rule does not have a fiscal or economic impact on state agencies or local government units. Members of the public who may be economically affected by the rulemaking may include health insurers that offer policies subject to the rule, individuals and businesses that purchase those policies, and any individuals enrolled in those plans. And that we didn't identify any other economic impacts to other members of the public. All right, and the next item, estimate the number and type of small businesses subject to the rule. The rules apply to health insurers offering health insurance policies subject to the statute or the bill. Based on our financial filings to DFR, no health insurer meets the definition of a small business. So we move on to the next one. Describe expected reporting, record keeping, administrative activities, and costs required to comply with the rule. The rules may impose record keeping and other administrative obligations on health insurers necessary to ensure compliance with the rule. We don't have information to estimate the costs, and because health benefit plans sold to individual and small employers are already required to cover prosthetic and orthotic devices, these rules are not expected to impose significant additional reporting, record keeping, or administrative activities. And again, based on the financial filings made to DFR, no health insurer meets the definition of a small business. All right. The next item, sorry, this is a lot of talking, but estimate the cost of professional services, equipment, supplies, labor, and increased administration required to comply with the rules. So health insurers offering plans that are subject to these rules may incur costs related to professional services, labor, and increased administration. We do not have information available to estimate the costs. So this is similar to the response above, because devices are already being covered, that there may not or not expected to impose significant additional reporting, record keeping, and administrative activities. All right, how were small businesses involved in the development of the rule? So we did include participation from advocacy organizations that represented the interests of businesses providing prosthetic and orthotic services, some of which were likely small businesses. Also, we did invite representation from small businesses, but they did not attend or participate. Was the rule advisory committee consulted? Yes, the proposed rules were developed in conjunction with a RAC that included representatives of domestic health insurers and advocates for amputees and other persons with limb loss and limb difference. And just noting that the committee held virtual meetings today and also on July 31st. Did membership of the RAC represent interests of persons and communities likely affected by the rule? Yes. The RAC represented interests of health insurers and persons with limb loss and limb difference who are in need of prosthetic and orthotic devices. So that kind of wraps up the parts we wanted to go over. Does anyone, I know it's a lot to digest, and again, we'll allow for comment offline. Does anyone have any thoughts at this time? All right. Oh, I hear a voice. Maybe I don't hear a voice. All right. Then oh yes, Antoinette, go ahead.
No, I don't have any comments on the statement of need and fiscal impact. I'm assuming that this draft will be disseminated to the RAC and also posted on the DFR's prosthetic and orthotics website, if that's been created. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. I have another question, but I can wait until you're done with this portion of it.
Okay. Well, I don't see any other questions, so we're at public comments, so this would be a good time to ask additional questions. Go ahead.
Okay. At the beginning of the RAC, I don't know whether it was pulled up in error, but you showed the final rule test, and that's not what I thought we all agreed on. I thought the only change was to update the date and not include the additional provisions that I just saw. Yeah, this one. Because of the fact that it is cited to the ORS, which is the 743A 145, in which Senate Bill 699 amends. So by doing that, we all know the additional requirements per Senate Bill 699. So that's what I got from the last RAC, but if I misunderstood, please clarify. And that's not the version also on your website. So.
Okay. As far as the version on the website, we can take a look at that. As far as this not being what we discussed, I thought it was, but if other people want to chime in, Nicole, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to chime in to say that this is what I thought that we discussed and what was determined to be okay with the group on the last call.
Yes, Cheryl.
Hi, just to follow up on what Nicole said, I was under the impression this was what was agreed upon because there was conversation that there could be some confusion when multiple claims were submitted because the coding for an everyday device and activity-specific device could look very similar. So by having it specifically differentiated that essentially there would be more than one device, that was why there was discussion that B should still be included. That was my understanding from the last call.
Yes, and yeah, that was DFR's as well. Merlene, go ahead.
I just wanted to support what Antoinette was saying in that because the underlying statute is being modified to reflect the provisions, I thought that the discussion was that we would be pointing back to the statute, which would say that rather than repeating it here in the regulation. It doesn't change how carriers will administer the benefit or that they will be confused by having to go and look at the statute to see what the requirement is. It just reduces duplicative language and simplifies the regulation text. So I had the same understanding as Antoinette. Regardless of whether the language is in the regulation or in the underlying statute, carriers will be providing the required services.
Yeah, so I think my understanding from the last meeting was the concern with pointing back to the statute was if there were changes made to the statute that didn't necessarily change the rule, then we would be pointing to a statute that wasn't necessarily accurate. So by doing it this way, or that the citation wouldn't necessarily be, it would be almost a little circular. The statute would require rulemaking that would point back to the statute that required rulemaking. So by doing it here, we're just reiterating the coverage requirements. So I think that was my understanding as to why we were including this from the last meeting.
So I'm a little confused about what you just stated, because if the law on prosthetic and orthotics would change, it will be changing that statute 743A145. And when you scroll down in the rule, it has the statutory authority right here, 743A.145. And I think that was the point of the discussion during the last RAC. So any changes made to prosthetic and orthotics will be made through this statute. And if it requires rulemaking, then you just open it up and address what different and address whatever needs to be addressed, in rule. But again, as mentioned in the last RAC and also as mentioned here by Marlene, it just seems like we're repeating what's already in the statute and also cited in the rule. And regardless, I mean, we'll cover it according to the underlying statute. It just seems unnecessary. And again, this draft is not on the DFR's website. So that's why I was just a little bit confused when this was pulled out during the second RAC meeting. Okay, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Sure, that makes sense. Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, and forgive me, I was not on the last call. I was out of town, so I don't have any recollection of what was actually discussed. So I apologize. But if my thoughts are, if the statute requires promulgation of rules through regulation, then it is the DFR is frankly required to clarify the statute and support the statute in formal rulemaking, which it seems like is what's been done here. So, and I just wanted to add that in. Sorry, I'm in an airport, so of course now the announcements go off. But I just wanted to offer that.
Yes, thank you. And I do see in the chat that Nicole shared the summary that did include this language. Do we have thoughts from any of our other carriers or anyone else at this time?
This is Jesse. Just a question. Is this something that people believe has a substantive impact, or is it just a matter of trying to reduce the number of words in the rule? So if it's the latter, I mean, we can take that back and talk about it, but I'm not sure it's something that would warrant a lot of debate.
Yes, Nicole, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to understand what is the challenge with leaving it in, or what is the problem with leaving it in? And then was curious if Pramila from DOJ would be willing to chime in.
Yeah, just a response to that question. Will consult with the division after this meeting, but I don't typically provide legal advice during a RAC. I'm here mainly to listen to the input and consult with the division afterwards.
Yes. Thank you, Pramila.
And I'll just add that I'd like to support the language as written, given our last committee hearing. And it certainly speaks to resolve any ambiguity, if there is any, in the future.
So, Antoinette or Marlene, can I ask you, based on Jesse's question, what your thoughts are?
For my organization, we just don't feel like repeating it is necessary or valued, since again, the legislation is very clear as to what the coverage requirements are, and the rule itself cites the underlying statute that contains those requirements. If we are adding the additional language, then why not add those additional clarification in the additional statute also in this rule? We believe the underlying statute is very clear and it doesn't need to be repeated, given that it's also cited on the in the rules. So with that, I will probably have to redact my comment letter and provide another one. Thank you.
This is Merlene. So if this language is included, it won't change how we are administering the covered benefit for enrollees. Again, I would just think that it's duplicative language that isn't necessary, but it also isn't going to be like a deal breaker for us because it's not going to change our administration. The underlying statute is very clear about what is required of carriers.
Sure, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well, at this point, I think what we can do is go ahead and just do another public comment period to address this, the rule text. My apologies that the rule text wasn't made available outside of the summary document on the website. But yeah, and again, sorry for any confusion here. But yeah, let's go ahead and we'll have a public comment period through, let's go close of business on the 20th to, so a week from today. And otherwise, does anyone have anything else at this point that they'd like to discuss regarding this rule? All right, anyone from the public that has not already identified themselves? Perfect. So I don't think at this point we'll have another meeting unless we get quite a few comments that would necessitate it. At this point, I think we'll see what the comments say that we receive, and we'll move forward from there. So we'll be in touch. I will be personally out next week and a couple days into the week after. So expect to hear from me after that when I've had a chance to take a look at everything. But again, thank you for your time and look forward to hearing from everyone.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thanks, Ethan.